photographer doesn't show up, we'll have to take our own pictures. Could you shut that off and we'll leave, or we'll just put them on site.
Good morning. I hope you're all enjoying May, and I hope you take time today to go out and join a walk through the gardens. They have a special exhibit going on with animatronic bugs. It's a don't miss, I'm sure. So there might be tulips still out there, I don't know. So let us know. But every month you can bring your lunch, or you can buy lunch here, and you can stay for the day if you'd like. So we're going to get started. Welcome to all of the new people that are attending for the first time. How many are attending for the first time? Awesome. We have a lot of people with the foster grandparent program. Who's here with foster grandparents? Awesome. We always have people that are interested in volunteerism. So we appreciate what you're doing out there in the community. And we can't wait to hear more about it. So we'll be covering that. We want to do a television show with you guys. So I'm Catherine Ambrose, and my husband Randy and I, he's around here somewhere, is probably trying to get more chairs. So if you're looking for chairs, just let us know. We'll have more chairs soon. You can spread out as far as you'd like. You can stand. So just make sure that you're comfortable. We're lucky to have tables these days because we're doing social distancing and trying to spread out a little bit. And we have fewer people, although this is an amazing crowd. But the tables are nice so you can take notes because we're going to learn a lot today. So, all right, I'm going to do something a little different. I started to mention my husband. My husband and I are real estate agents. We have worked in the local market for a number of years. And we noticed that aging is challenging. And my Aunt Caroline, who's here for the first time since COVID started, it's the first time I've seen her, except at Christmas. We went out and did Christmas carols in her house. Do you remember what you said about aging? I think it's on our website. Yeah, maybe you said something like it's not for sissies, which is for sure. Okay, so my grandma said that, and she understands it. I'm starting to understand it. I remember being a sassy little girl. I wasn't sassy. But I remember commenting that grandma couldn't see anything. And grandma told me, just wait. So I take my glasses on and off all the time because that's the stage of life that I'm in. So I know it's a little distracting, hopefully not too bad. Randy, could you come up for just a second? I know you look busy. This is my husband, Randy, and he lets me do all my crazy ideas, and I've had plenty. And he is my partner in real estate, and so he does most of the real estate behind the scenes. He works very closely with our clients, and then I do a lot of this kind of thing, and basically just stir things up. But we've noticed over the years that aging is challenged, and that senior clients had complications and questions that a real estate agent just really isn't equipped to answer. So what we're doing with the seminar series, which we're working towards becoming a nonprofit, is providing community education on all things senior. So some of you might be nearing the age where you're here for yourself to learn things. And I know many of you are care partners and caregivers for elder parents or for siblings. And so today our topic is the forever home. We're going to talk about kind of our specialty. And we're also going to have Justin Rocheleau. Where are you, Justin? Justin will be addressing reverse mortgages because that's always like a mystery topic and kind of scary sometimes, and so he's going to shed some light onto that. We have Susan Keeper with Keeper Senior Care, who's going to talk about having your forever home set up so that when you do have care partners come into the home or your spouse is trying to help you, that things are set up so that so that will work better. I've been in a wheelchair actually for months before. My mother-in-law, Dolores Ambrose, back there is a saint. She took care of me. And I've had other injuries. So there are times during your life where you just have an injury, where you have an illness or something. And so preparing your home now to have care partners enter care for you is a really great thing to do. We're going to talk in detail about that. We're going to do an intermission. We used to just do 90 minutes straight. We weren't really complaining, but we decided maybe a bio break, a bathroom break is appropriate. In the last 2 months, we've had Club Hope here doing a little dance intermission, which we're not have today, but we know is something else. And then after the break, we're going to hear from Fiona Nurse. She's from the medical world, and she's going to be talking about our aging eyes and the vision challenges in your home and how those can be addressed. She's also an expert on the aging brain, so I imagine she'll be talking about that. She is my partner in developing the Dementia miniseries for PBS Kansas. We're very excited about that. We've got lots to tell you about that. But for now, we are on to the Forever Home. What brought you to this topic today? Like, some of you are just here because you like to come and you get something out of it. Thank you, Randy. Yeah, thank you. He really does deserve applause. That's no joke. So some of you are here for the gardens and the socialization, which is critically important. But some of you are here for the Forever Home topic specifically. Does anyone have a burning question that they want to make sure they get answered today? Raise your hand and I'll come by. All right, we're just going to answer them all. If you think of questions as we go, write them down because we're going to do Q&A at the end. And I believe you will have questions. All right, here we go. So this is a little different, but I'm going to be presenting most of this today. It's just getting us started. I put this up on the screen last month. We talked about stages of readiness. This is based on the stages have changed scientific. And that a lot of times when we're going to make a change of some kind, we start off in denial. And then we start contemplation, we start thinking about it. Women especially, we process out loud. We think about it, we talk about it. Talk, talk, talk. That's how we're processing and thinking it through. Then you get into the preparation and planning stage, and then you take action. Empowered Senior is all about empowering, equipping, and educating people to take action. We want to help seniors improve their lives, and we want to help improve the care that seniors receive. Stages of readiness can look like this. Oh, I didn't put all of my graphics on here. Denial can take a while. Okay, there we go. Thinking 1 to 2 years. People can think about things for 10 years before they do something. In fact, we just moved Nadine. I'm going to post a story, Nadine's moving story. And Nadine's going to be on a future episode of PBS Kansas. She thought about moving for 8 years. 8 years. She just kind of drove herself crazy with worry, thinking about when am I going to move. And my colleague at PBS Kansas said that's because it took her 8 years to find you. So that's nice because we do make it easy. Nadine was going to move to California. She didn't think she had any choice. She thought she needed to go live with her daughter, and that's just what she had to do. She went to visit her daughter, got stuck there because of COVID, was there for 4 months. We've been talking to her the whole time. She was like, when I come back, I need help packing and moving to California. Well, right before she was to come back, she called and said, okay, I'm ready to go, and I'm moving into Twin Lakes Apartments. And some friends of hers that might be here picked her up at the airport and said, she told them, I hate it there, I don't want to go there. And because of the services that I know are available, I don't have to stay there. So we got her moved into Twin Lakes, and so you're going to see that story on television without mentioning us. And then we'll post something where she's a little more frank about the process. Preparation or planning 2 to 5 years sometimes. It doesn't have to be that way. Sometimes things can happen very quickly. You can make a decision and you're like, I'm hiring a contractor, or I'm going to clean that out myself, or whatever it might be. It can be very fast, but it can be a process. And there are people in this room and people in the community that can help you with any of the decisions that you're trying to contemplate. The best way to make a great decision is to gather information, which is what you're doing today. Gather information that helps you think, process, and plan. And then it can spur you into action. Okay, so the forever home. 80% of the people in this room want to continue to live in the home that they live in forever. That's a statistic. Do you believe that? Okay, 80% want to stay in their home. We are not moving. Sometimes they'll put on our evaluation form, when am I moving? Never. Unless something terrible happens. Okay, so the plan is we are not moving. And a lot of times people will just decide, you're staying here. And as they age, sadly, a lot of times people become very isolated. They don't want people to know maybe how vulnerable they are. And a lot of people do become very vulnerable. They become prey to neighbors, as I mentioned many times before, and the janitor at the nice cancer center that decides to start bringing coffee every day to a senior couple, and the next thing you know is paying cash for vehicles for everybody he knows, and he ends up owning $1 million worth of investment properties. So we can become very vulnerable, so that's why we are trying to plan in advance what we're going to do so we can keep ourselves protected. If you want to stay in your home, you need to have a plan on how we're going to stay safe and be in our home and not become a victim. Hopefully you have family, nice family, not everybody has nice family that's really going to help when it's needed, and maybe you're that family that's somebody else. So your current house, we're going to talk about that. Fiona's going to address a lot of that after the break. You could purchase something better. So if you are a friend of someone that is trapped on the main floor of their home, and they are sleeping in an easy chair or a love seat because they can't get upstairs to go to bed, they can't get upstairs to take a bath very often, or get their clothes. They can't do the laundry in the basement. They have somebody come once a week to do the laundry. That's not a real fun lifestyle. That's not an empowered lifestyle. A lot of times we hear, we can't live anywhere cheaper than where we live now. And I'd like to challenge you to gather more information on that to make sure that's true, because usually that's not true. And there's lots of options. We're going to talk about options for purchase that might make more sense, where someone has the whole thing for everything that they need, so they don't have to worry about being trapped and isolated in a dangerous environment. The home you raised your children in might not be the home that's best for you to age in. If you bought that house for a certain purpose, and they have flown on, hopefully they come back, but that was for a specific purpose and a specific time in your life. Mitzi Beach, who was a television guest twice in our first season, and she was a speaker here, she has a term called rightsizing. It's time to size your life right, to get right sized and to make good choices. You might not be changing square footage or even neighborhoods, but maybe just the floor plan and the layout. Maybe you want no maintenance. Maybe you don't want to have to worry about mowing, or you're embarrassed because you can't keep the lawn up as good as you used to, or the siding or the paint. So that's something that people feel bad about every time they pull up at their house, or every time they think about it. It's very stressful. Stress causes physical conditions. Fiona can address that. That stress leads to cancer, dementia, lots of things that we don't want. So how can you be as stress-free as possible? If a purchase be possible, a rental, we talked to many seniors that they do not want to own a home anymore. They don't want to have to deal with a plumber. They don't want to deal with a claim on the roof. They don't want to deal with snow removal or mowing or anything like that. They want to write somebody a check, and woo, my life is suddenly so much easier. And a lot of times the communities that they move into, they are surrounded by people that want to be friends and do things, and that can be very uplifting because one of the biggest challenges for seniors is isolation. Then there's senior living options. There's a range of them. We'll just kind of gloss over those today because we'll have other topics where we dig in deeper. And then there's life care communities that take care of someone through their whole life. They might start off independent. Maybe they start off in a villa with a garage. Then they move indoors to independent where they have their meals 3 times a day and they go to active or assisted living. And that community is going to take care of them the whole way through no matter what. So Justin is so kind to our group. He's going to sponsor the summer parade patio homes. And so I want to invite you to consider getting on the list today. I have a Downsizers Club survey or the evaluation form just right on there that you're interested in the summer parade patio homes. We were going to do this last year, spring parade. That COVID happened. So we've waited. We're going to do it June 17th in 1 month. We can take 50 people. So we want to take 50 of the most interested people, and I'm going to give you an idea of what you're going to see. We're going to look at patio homes for purchase. Now, this one's actually one that's on the market right now. It's priced in the 170s. The Home Association views are 200. You see how they're duplexes, and each unit has a 2-car garage. The only wall that is common with the neighbor is that garage. They share a huge driveway, and then they have 2-car garages side by side. Across from the big double driveway is another set of duplexes with the same thing. So you've got 4 people or 4 groups of people kind of living together and watching out for each other. Very friendly place. This one was built for someone that's in a wheelchair, and she decided to move into senior living. And I said, "Are you worried about COVID?" This was several months ago, being isolated. She said, "Honey, I've been isolated for 10 years. And she was ready to move into a senior living community where she could actually see more people than her driveway friends. So this is an example of an option. This is in Derby. But these places are all over. Some of you are from Newton and further away. Shout out a few cities. Where are you guys from? Andover. Udall, that's good. Augusta. Hayesville. Marion. Winfield. All right. El Dorado. I knew there'd be someone from El Dorado. Very good. So these are all over the place, and a senior living professional can help you find these, or a realtor that specializes in seniors can help you find these. Randy and I can help you, and there's no cost to getting help. This is the inside of that unit. Because she's in a wheelchair, she built this incredible layout, including this huge shower so that her caregivers could get in. That's not maybe the best picture. It is a big, beautiful luxury shower. So if it had been her daughter or had been a team of 2 people helping her, there's plenty of room to move around in that shower. So you can design something that works for you. There's all kinds of gorgeous patio homes. And this might not be everyone's price range, but just to give you an idea, they're really beautiful. There are patio homes in the low 200s. Maybe there could be something for less. Right, I did just look to see how many were on the market last night. And there are several in the 200,000 range. The median price is about $350. And these are communities where you own the house, but the community takes care of that manicured lawn and taking care of everything outside. It's low maintenance lifestyle. There's usually pickleball and fitness center and other things and social activities. And you have a 2-car or 3-car garage. And then they go up in price. That's one of the most expensive ones that's on the market right now. So they can be as conservative or as huge, where you're not really downsizing, you're just changing the layout as you want, and also going to the low maintenance lifestyle. And aren't those cute? That little portico is so cute. So we're going to see some of those on the patio home bus tour next month. So next month, we'll have our normal Thursday here for the seminar, and then the following week, people will meet us here at Botanica in the parking lot and load up on the bus. You can buy a condo. You can buy a condo for $25,000 or less. you can buy a more expensive condo. Park Lane Towers is actually a co-op building. It's kind of all the same thing where you're buying into a building. And these aren't senior living communities per se, but most of the people that live there, not all, are seniors, and they enjoy each other's company and they offer lots of social activities. And of course, that's the Hillcrest in College Hill. I have sold several condos on the river, the Riverview. I just sold the most expensive one, and there was $2,099, and that's what it sold for because it's all redone inside. And I sold one for $169,900. There are not very many of these available at any given time, but it's something we can keep an eye on if you're interested. If you'd like to tour the building, we can arrange that. That might be a future bus tour. If you like the idea of maybe a bus tour of rentals or bus tour of condos, give us some feedback on any of the papers. We'll pick up all the papers before we leave the room, and we'll look at what you wrote. This, yes.
25,000 per what, year?
No, that's 25,000 to buy your unit. So that's going to be, a little more conservative unit, but kind of nice for the money. And then if you bought one for 25,000, maybe you'd be fixing it up a little bit. Where you could change out the carpet, or that kind of thing. There's some pretty. There are all kinds of options. Every price range you can imagine, from 25,000 up to like almost 800,000. So huge range of options that you have for purchasing. And then all of them are going to have some type of fees attached, monthly fees attached, that take care of maintenance and building. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be comparing. I get to live in my house for free because I've paid off. It's not really free because you're also paying taxes and you're paying utilities, you're paying for your home, your hazard insurance, you're paying things to keep it going. You're buying your food and all that. So we're going to compare apples to apples. What is the total cost here? And then what options do you want to look at, and what are those total costs? Because sometimes you can actually save a lot of money. If you have your house paid off, you're not living there for free. You're sitting on a pile of money that maybe you can do something else with. And if you don't have your house paid off, or you want to tap into the equity somehow, Justin's going to talk about that and how that can help extend your time. We helped somebody about a year ago where they lived off of their reverse mortgage until they absolutely had to move. They moved into one of the Oxford communities. And they were upside down on the reverse mortgage. What happens if you're upside down on the reverse mortgage if you owe more than the house is worth? You don't owe anything. You get to just walk away. And so there's no penalty. And so they were able to live off of their reverse mortgage. That's what paid their bills. And then they moved into a one-bedroom apartment in Oxford Villa. It's very nice. Highland House, that is rentals. Those are at 13th and Woodlawn. And so I haven't been in any of the units. I've been in the lobby, so I'm curious about that. So I'm sure we'll do a little TV segment on that one of these days. Then there's villas all over the place. There are villas that you can rent all over. Usually there's waiting lists. But they can be very affordable, like a one bedroom. I put that on a different page. One bedroom, okay, market price can be $1,300 to $1,800. Those are pretty good size houses. We know of some units where you can do one bedroom for $785 or a two bedroom for $950. There's a wait list of 8 people, and you have a free membership to a fitness center that you can walk to. You have neighbors that share a courtyard with you. They do barbecues and different things. So there's lots of different options. You just need to talk to somebody knowledgeable that can help you find those. Because that one I just mentioned, I feel like that's like a little secret area. Pretty much everybody knows about these villas, but it's still a little challenging sometimes to get yourself positioned on the list and be selected. This is what they can look like on the inside. We have a 2-car garage, there's 2 bedrooms, 2 bath, really nice floor plan. It can be very traditionally designed, or it can be more modern. And then there's 55 plus apartments. So Oxford Villa is another example of that, but you can also order some food in there. Twin Lakes has for decades. In fact, Nadine's moving story, Nadine moved into Twin Lakes. Her mother or stepmother her mother-in-law lived there 50 years ago. When I was in apartment management in the 80s, I was connected to Twin Lakes, and that place was run like a ship. It was just awesome. And beautiful views, 3 or 5 swimming pools, I can't remember how many. And then there's also Maple Gardens, which is over near Maple and Maze Road, very affordable. It's not senior living, but they've kind of adapted over time to kind of be like senior living, where there's food available, there's medical available, there's different things. And of course, no matter where you live, you can bring your own in-home care and medical people in. So lots and lots of options, no matter what city you're in. Okay, so senior living options. My opinion is you want professional guidance from local placement professionals, and we can refer you to those individuals, or we can help you ourselves to a certain point, and at which time we might refer you to somebody that's an RN, like Susan Keeper, that really looks over making sure that people are getting the appropriate medical care. Because we don't want someone ending up in independent living that should be in assisted living, and then they're having to pay more money out of pocket to bring in people to give them their showers and do other things. So really want to be careful and have an expert in the medical field helping to make sure that you're making a good selection. A lot of times people move in to senior living and they find out it's not the right place to be, and then they move again. I hate to tell you, even if you want to live in your own home forever, most people make 3 moves. That's statistics, make 3 downsizing moves. So in this room, we have Sedgwick Plaza. Hopefully they're one of the sponsors on the television show. We have Healthcare Resort of Wichita Free. That is a beautiful facility. You have assisted living and you have rehab. Rehab is a biggie. That brought off topic account myself. Rehab is so important. If you're in the hospital and you can't go home, you have to go to rehab. Do not go where they tell you to go. You need to think for yourself where you want to go. Please, if you write nothing down today except that, write that down. You pick your own rehab facility always, not where the hospital sends you. Brian Spear in the purple shirt developed a program called Preferred Access. Kansas Home Health and Hospice can help you for free make these kind of decisions, and then they report it for you so you can have that information with you at all times in case of emergency, or you can call them for help. That is really critical. So if Dolores, Carolyn, Grant, my family, if you needed to go to rehab, I would want you to go to Healthcare Resort of Wichita or Center at Waterfront, something like that. Center at Waterfront's on the east side, Healthcare Resort's on the west side. So those are just some options. There's a lot of places that I would never want you to go. Dolores already knows one because my father-in-law was in it. It was terrible. Oxford Senior Living. Is anybody from Oxford here today? Usually Kelsey's here. And then KMH. So those are some of our sponsors that anyone in this room can talk to you about senior living. So you want local placement people to help you. There's no cost. Do not call Place for Mom, because you want a local person that you might run into in a grocery store that's going to run into me at the grocery store, somebody that really cares, and they're not just putting your name on a list everywhere, so that if you move in 7 years, they're going to say, oh, I get my fee from the community, because the placement professionals do get paid, they just don't charge you. And we believe that they should act like we do and be a fiduciary to help you make the best choices possible. And so we hold people accountable to that, and we want to put you in the hands of good people. We have trusted community sponsors throughout the room that can talk to you about any of these things. So I'm a little bit haunted. A couple months ago, someone stood up there talking about rehab, and he said, how do we know where to go? And how you know where to go is to call Empowered Senior or call somebody in this room. So the same number that you called to reserve your seat today, or the same website you went to today, you can call us and we will get you in touch with someone that can help you with whatever you're dealing with. Okay. Oh, and then life plan communities. Those sometimes you buy into, if you sell your house, you take some of the equity. They usually have different options of how much you're going to put down to save how much on your monthly. And they'll take care of you through all the different stages of aging. So they'll have skilled nursing if that's needed at some point. They will have memory care. So you can stay at the same place. You might change villas or apartments, but you'll probably stay on the same campus, or you'll know where you're gonna go. You're gonna go to a sister community. Okay, so that's what I have. Do you have any questions about that first part? That was a lot of stuff. So, all right, Justin from JR Mortgage, come on up. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. There we go. Okay, so when everybody hears reverse mortgage, the first thing they think is, ooh, scary, I don't like it, I don't want it, I don't need it, no thank you. So what my job has been for the last 2 years has been educating. Educating, doesn't even go higher, a little closer to the mouth. Okay, there you go, I'll lean up a little bit. Everybody hear me okay? Okay, wonderful.
You just about have to kiss it.
Just about to kiss it, there you go. So what my job has been educating those that deal with seniors in a housing capacity, whether that's real estate agents, financial planners, CPAs, trust attorneys, anybody that has anything to do with seniors in a financial capacity. Those have been the people that I have been educating on how to utilize this program. So a little bit of background on myself. My name is Justin Rushlow. I am the president and owner of JR Mortgage Group. I'm also the loan officer in charge of handling these reverse mortgages. Reverse mortgages also have a secondary name as well. They're called home equity conversion mortgages. And the reason they have that name is they are an FHA-sponsored, government-regulated program. They are very, very strictly regulated, and there's a lot of oversight on my side as a loan officer and on the lending side to make sure that everybody is taken care of. And there's a lot of hoops that we have to jump through to make sure that, hey, this is actually the best program and the best option for the client. So really what I want to start out with is, what is a home equity conversion mortgage? What is a reverse mortgage? What does it actually do? Usually what people think is, I take out a reverse mortgage, I get a check, and then at the end of the game, my house is gone, the bank has my house, and that's it. That couldn't be any further from the truth. There are so many ways to utilize a reverse mortgage in an efficient and useful way in retirement for those that have $15 in their bank account and for those that have 10-figure net worths. There's always a place for this product. So really what we're doing with this program is we are taking the home equity that you have built up over the years and we are turning it into an active liquid asset, right? So speaking with financial planners, right, I asked them this question: what percentage of your clients' net worths are tied up in their home equity? Usually the answer is between 15 and 50% of their clients' net worth is home equity, right? And really, what is home equity going to do for you inside retirement, right? It's going to be a item on your balance sheet. It's going to be a number that you are going to pass down to your children, right? You're not using it to benefit yourself inside retirement. You're not using it to do anything except for passing it down, which is great, and that's a very, very good cause. But what if there's a way that we can utilize that home equity to actually increase your net worth and increase the amount that you were able to pass down and allow you to live more efficiently and more effectively inside retirement? And that's what we do. So what are some of the biggest myths with reverse mortgages? What do we do to dispel them, right? So the first one, the biggest one, bank takes my house, right? The bank is going to own my home at the end of this game. That is totally false. The client always retains title to the house. It is just as if you would have a normal mortgage on your house, right? The mortgage company is they have a lien on the property, they have an interest in the property, but they have no ownership whatsoever, right? When you are ready to sell your house, ready to move out, you want to pay it off, great, no harm, no foul, you retain ownership of the house, and that's it. The other biggest myth, among others, of course, is that this is a last ditch effort or I gotta get this done, I have no money, I gotta get something coming in. or else we're going to lose the house, right? That can be any farther from the truth, right? Like I mentioned earlier, I work with financial planners all the time on how can we move that home equity line on your balance sheet up into the active asset section, right? Maybe we don't ever utilize a reverse mortgage, right? But we have it open, we have it available, we have it ready to rock and roll just in case we need it. Right? So how can a home equity conversion mortgage help somebody in retirement, right? So this goes back to kind of dispelling that first myth, right? Of, hey, I'm just getting a check every single month. That is one way to utilize a reverse mortgage. The most common way, and really the easiest way to think about it, is we are turning that home equity, right, a certain portion, a certain percentage based off of how old you are and several other factors. We're turning it into a big line of credit. Think about it like a big floating home equity line of credit you get your local credit union, your local bank. It's the exact same thing, except it does not have a payment, right? You do not have to make any principal and interest payments on a reverse mortgage line of credit until you move out of the house permanently, or you pass away, or you become delinquent on your property taxes or your insurance, which of course we don't want to do anyways. So what that does is it allows you to utilize the benefits of a HELOC, home equity line of credit, but without having the cash flow problem, right, of, hey, I got to make my HELOC payment, which is $500, $600, $700 a month. That causes a big problem, especially if cash flow is a little bit tight, and that's what we're using the program for, right? So that frees up that issue. And then what can we do with that line of credit, right? You do not have to have your home paid off. You do not have to have your home free and clear to be able to utilize this. One of the biggest ways and one of the most important ways that we can use this is, let's say we have somebody that's coming up close to retirement, right? Or maybe they're very early in retirement or even later in retirement, and they still have a mortgage on their house, a normal mortgage. You know, they're paying $1,000, $1,200, $1,500 a month. They may only have a handful of years left, but it's really making that cash flow a little bit tighter than they'd like, right? They're taking a little bit extra out of their IRAs, a little bit extra out of their Roth IRAs to pay for this mortgage. So what we can do is we can take that line of credit and we can pay off your old mortgage. Now you don't have a payment, and you can leave more of your money inside of your retirement accounts and allow them to grow, get bigger, and still have that flexibility to make those payments on the reverse mortgage if you want to, right? The interest rates on these loans are usually lower than normal loans. For example, I mean, I priced some out today, but we're talking rates in the ones, right? 1% or 2%. If I can leverage anything at 1% or 2%, I'm going to do it in a freaking heartbeat, right? Because I know my money can earn a lot more if it's in the market, even if it's in a conservative, very, very conservative environment, right? When you're only earning 3%, 4%, or 5%. I like that spread myself. So that's one way we can utilize this in retirement. And as I mentioned, I work very, very closely with your financial advisor to make sure that that fits into your plan, right? How can we use this to bolster retirement? Sometimes you can, right? Sometimes it just doesn't make sense, and that's totally okay. A lot of times, and I would argue most of the time, it does make sense and it has a place, even if we open up a reverse mortgage and we never use it. At least we have that line of credit available, and that line of credit is growing and getting bigger every single year that you don't utilize it. Kind of go into this forever home concept, right? How can we utilize a reverse mortgage to keep our forever home? Oh, the thing is, sounds like it's about to blow up. How can we utilize a reverse mortgage to stay in our homes or create our forever home, right? We can utilize this line of credit to upgrade your current home, right? You're living in your house, but maybe you have some stairs and you don't particularly care for them. It's harder for you to get up and down the stairs to do whatever you need to do. You can utilize this as a way to finance maybe building in an elevator, right? Building up a little, one of those little staircase, little escalator things that they have nowadays. Maybe you need to update your house, right? Whatever you need to do, some deferred maintenance. This is a way to finance those items with the equity that you have and not have a payment attached to them, right? Like I mentioned earlier, maybe we need to pay off our mortgage, right, with this line of credit so that it allows you to stay in your home for longer, right? You don't have to worry about making that big payment anymore. There's a way that we can take care of that and not tie up that cash flow anymore. And also it allows you to leave more in your retirement, allows you to increase your actual income to yourself moving forward, so you don't have to feel stressed on a cash flow basis, right? So that's one way, right? If we want to stay in our homes, but maybe we want to right size, we want to light size, as Catherine mentioned, right? Maybe that means downsizing, maybe that means not downsizing at all, maybe it means keeping the exact same square footage, size, maybe even getting a bigger house, but it's more apt for what your needs are in retirement. You can utilize a reverse mortgage to purchase a new home, right? So say you are selling your gorgeous home, right? You have a $500,000 house, right? Patio homes they're not the cheapest things in the world. Let's say you find another one, you find one for the median price that Catherine mentioned, which is $350,000, right? Normally what you do, you like to have no mortgage payment. You sell your house, you write a $350,000 check, you keep $150,000, and you walk out free and clear, right? All fine and dandy. You put that money wherever your financial advisor determines, it really makes sense to put. But what if we can use that cash in a little bit of smarter manner? Maybe as opposed to writing a $350,000 check, we write a $150,000 check, right? Now you have $350,000 that you can do something with, right? And you have a reverse mortgage fill in the gap on your new home. It allows you to live in this brand new home without a monthly mortgage payment, and you get $350,000 that you get to invest and utilize in a more efficient way. Or maybe you use it to fix up the home, or maybe you use it to increase your purchasing power, right? A bunch of different ways of utilizing this. I'm sure that I could talk for hours and hours and hours about this program. Didn't want to get too deep into it. I'm not sure how I'm doing on time. Cool. So I kind of wanted to open it up and see what questions or comments or concerns there may be, because like I mentioned, this is a very complex program. It has a very, very bad rap from about 10 years ago. And actually, I can kind of address it. I don't think I brought that up. Back in the early 2000s, this program was utilized quite a bit, right? And it was a reverse mortgage. It was not a home equity conversion mortgage. These were a quote unquote conventional loan program that any fly-by-night salesman can write up, put somebody into it, right? Talk somebody into it. They throw exorbitant fees onto it, and they basically get ripped off, right? If they miss their payments, right? If they don't pay their property tax and insurance, immediately they foreclose, right? They get kicked out of their homes. All sorts of horrible things, and those absolutely did happen. Right? I am not saying that did not happen. But what I am saying is that product is not around anymore, right? In 2014, FHA, federal government, got involved and said, this is not going to happen anymore, right? This is going to be very highly regulated. You are going to jump through several hoops. My normal consultation time with clients prior to actually moving forward with this program, including meeting with their financial advisor, their children, the clients themselves, and anybody else who is interested in their particular scenario. It's usually between 4 and 5 hours of total meeting time before we say, yeah, this is probably the right program and the right path for me. After that, you also have a third-party counseling session with somebody that is not associated with my firm, somebody that is associated directly with FHA, who will run through the ins and outs of this just in case I may have missed anything, right? I like to think I don't miss much, but just in case I did, somebody's there. His name is Aaron Mendoza. He's here in town. He's absolutely fantastic. He will run and educate you on anything that I may have missed. And then from there, we get the actual loan started, right? And that takes between 30 and 45 days, just like a normal loan, and we have a grand old time. Also, another point that Catherine brought up earlier is what happens if I'm upside down on my reverse mortgage, right? What happens? The mortgage company obviously does not like that. They don't care for that. They are structuring these loans in a way that it is very unlikely that that is going to be the case. But just in case that does happen, there are mortgage insurance premiums, right, that are on these loans at the very beginning and that accrue each year. It is a very nominal amount on a yearly basis, and it depends on how much you actually utilize. But what it does is it prevents you from ever owing more than what your house is worth in any scenario, regardless of what your loan amount is and regardless of how much your home is valued at. You will never owe more than what your house is worth, even if it's something insane like you owe $1 million and your house is worth $10. You will never owe more than the $10, and that goes to your heirs as well. So it allows you to leverage your home maybe even more than what you thought was even possible. So hopefully I knocked out a couple questions. Are there any big glaring questions that I can answer? Or yes, ma'am.
All right, say you have this reverse mortgage or whatever you're
Uh-huh.
calling it, and you're living for 10 years, and then you die, but you still owe for maybe 10 years on the mortgage. Then what happens? Do your kids have to pay the mortgage off if they want to keep the house?
Yeah, so you can think about it in the exact same way as if you were to have a normal mortgage on your house, right? So let's say you were to pass away and you have a home that's valued $200,000 and you owe $100,000 on it. And this is the same scenario for both forward mortgages and reverse mortgages. Your kids have three options. They can sell the house, pay off the loan, keep the rest, and split it between however many there are. They can buy the house from the estate, essentially, right, for whatever the loan amount is, or they can deed it to the bank and say, I don't want to deal with it, bank, you take it, right? Normally, it's going to be the first option, right? Your kids are probably going to be selling your home, paying off that loan, and keeping the proceeds. And like I said, it's the exact same whether you have a normal mortgage or a reverse mortgage. It's those same three options.
Is there an insurance that you can carry in case you do pass before it's paid off, it will pay off the rest of the mortgage?
Yeah, so on reverse mortgages, like I mentioned, there are no payments required at all. If you want to make a payment, you're more than welcome to, and there are some clients that may make sense for. If they just say, hey, I just want to pay off my other mortgage faster with a lower interest rate, but I don't want to be forced to make a payment. So there are actually no payments required, but that mortgage insurance on there, right, kicks in if you were to owe more than what the house is worth, right? So when you pass away or you move out of the house permanently and your kids are taking over your estate, they would be the ones that would be selling the house and paying the loan off at that point in time. So, and they usually have between a year and 18 months to get that completed, which in this market, it takes about 13 seconds to sell a house. So shouldn't be a problem. No. Any other questions or concerns before we move forward? Yes, sir.
How do you get a reverse on a mortgage on a house paid off?
So essentially what we do, right, is we turn the equity that you have into a line of credit, right? So let's just use a rough figure. Let's say your house is worth $200,000, right? You would have roughly access, depending on your age, somewhere between $100,000 and $150,000, right? We turn that into a line of credit. If you don't ever use it, great. But if you do need to use it, it's there and it's available. So, and you can turn that into monthly payments. You can turn that into a lump sum. You can turn that into whatever you decide and your financial advisor decides is necessary.
Essentially, you're borrowing against your house.
Correct. Yep.
You do that from a bank.
Exactly. Yes, and that's why I mentioned at the beginning, right? It's very, very similar to a home equity line of credit or a HELOC, right? Except HELOCs have much higher interest rates. They have payments that are required, and also that line of credit, it's never going to change, right? At a bank, you're going to get a $50,000 line of credit, and it's never going to move. They're not going to grow. Whereas on reverse mortgages, that line of credit, it grows at a set interest rate per year. So it will give.
What percent interest you guys charge?
What's that?
What percent interest you guys charge?
So the interest rates on these loans vary, but it's usually between 1 3/4 and maybe 2.5%.
Could that line of credit be used to invest in other?
Absolutely. Now that's why like I said, I work very closely with financial advisors to make sure that this is exactly what makes sense. But a lot of my partners utilize it to invest in long-term care, right? Maybe we want to essentially lock in the value of our house with maybe a life insurance policy, right? We buy a small life insurance policy to make sure that, hey, my kids are getting the $250,000 my house is worth, right? Or, these funds come out tax-free. It's a way to balance tax liabilities as well. I'm not a CPA, but obviously we'll consult with your CPA if that becomes a viable option. Am I
Okay,
running over?
you're good,
Okay.
you're good. We're gonna bring you back at the end.
Okay, sounds
Okay.
great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
He's awesome. He's a financial genius. That's why he's part of the Empowered Senior Program. He's really amazing, and there's no one I trust more on reverse mortgages. So reverse mortgage is just like any mortgage, and that's probably one of the key factors. And just like everything with aging is not for sissies. All of these topics are complex. And that's why we have put together lots of people. We have attorneys in the room, we have CPAs in the room, we have people that you can access so you get all your questions answered. Guess what I forgot? The Pledge of Allegiance. So, Don from Kansas Honor Flight, could you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? We get a little stretch now, and then we have one more speaker, we have a longer stretch, and then we'll have one more whole session.
Please rise and begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Don. I'm so glad you were able to be here, and thank you to all of our veterans in the room. Susan Keeper, I'll have you make your way up. So I want to talk about, I know 80% of people want to stay in your home, but I want to challenge you a little bit on that so you can have powerful conversations with your family. So not too long ago, there was a husband and wife that lived in a home, and these stories are very, very common. He's the caregiver for the wife with dementia. And if you've been coming to these for a while, you know, again, 80%, almost 80% of the caregiving spouse will predecease the spouse that they're caring for. Is that crazy? So Susan can talk about that, Fiona can talk about that, that's a fact. So you need to think about that if you're caring for a spouse or your sister's caring for a spouse or whatever the situations might be. Keep in mind that the healthy spouse often passes away before the one that has cognitive or physical decline. And that's just a fact. So we recently had a woman with dementia, her husband's the caregiver, he passed away. The police ended up getting involved. No one knew what to do with the wife. They didn't have any family here. She was going to be sent to a homeless shelter for the night, and probably maybe even longer for the night because they didn't know what to do. Luckily, and I mean luckily, one of the police officers remembered a conversation or training that he had, and he went to extra effort. That doesn't always happen. He went to extra effort to reach someone that's a dementia specialist. Luckily, she answered her phone because it was late in the evening, and she normally does not answer her phone at that time. Luckily, she did. Finding out that this woman with dementia who's very confused is going to go to a homeless shelter, she's like, stop, don't do anything. Let me try to help. She was able to make phone calls and find the woman a place to stay in a safe, clean, senior living environment until her daughter from Hawaii could come here to get her. So when you are having the PACs, or you know people that have PACs that were always going to live here, you need to be thinking about what might the consequences be if I leave my spouse alone. And that's just something to think about. Also, you have in-home care, like what Susan offers and other people in this room offer. You have a company looking out for you. That's very important because you don't want to leave somebody who's very vulnerable in a disastrous situation. Susan, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Susan Kiefer with Kiefer Senior Care, and I just have a question. I'm just going to be up here shortly, but how many of you guys know someone that is being cared for in their home by a company? Like you've seen the CNAs and the caregivers go in and take care of maybe a neighbor, a friend, a loved one. Any of you guys know anybody that's being done that? The guy in the blue shirt, is it a positive experience? Have you heard if it's a positive experience? No or yes?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I couldn't tell if that was an X or a plus. I'm like, well, so there's a lot of companies in town that we do this. It's, you have your home health services, your skilled home health services. And that's when you come back from a rehab or you've been in a hospital. That's your physical therapy, your occupational therapy, your speech therapy. And they come into the home and they're there up to 3 times a week or more Brian, that's what he does back there, Providence Home Health and Home Health and Hospice of Kansas. That's what they do. They bring in your nursing, your PT, OT, speech. They come in, they're there for a little bit, and then they leave, and you work towards goals, and Medicare pays for that. What I do is I do in-home non-medical care. So we are an addition to those services. We are, like I said, there's a lot of companies in town, and we go in with caregivers or certified nurse aides, certified medication aides, or home health aides. And it depends on the type of service that you need, of what type of caregiver you're going to require. All the companies are slightly different. What makes my business slightly different from some others is I am actually a registered nurse. So all of my clients are seen by me. My caregivers, if they need help, they can always call me, and you get free RN visits with the care that we're already providing in the home. In-home non-medical, if you guys don't know what that means, it's bringing in a caregiver to care for you in the safety and privacy of your own home. You don't have to go out for services, we come into you. We help with basic services such as house cleaning, meal prep, showers, bathing. We can help with a lot of, it's your activities of daily living. It's what you need to do to keep in your home and stay in your home. A lot of times people move to senior communities because they can't do those things any longer for themselves. Or you might have dementia, or your loved one has dementia, and it's no longer safe in the home because they could wander, they could get out of the house. Our girls go in, and guys go into the home, and they come up with a lot of tips and tricks that can help you keep your loved one, your senior, safely in the house. We go from anywhere from 3 hours a day up to 24/7. And that means you literally have someone in the home with you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm trying to think, what else do you guys need? That's what we do. And I encourage you that if you need assistance, you need help in the home, or you think that would be a good idea to keep you in your home as long as possible, to interview different companies. Like I said, they're all different. The average cost, it is private pay. So your average cost is anywhere from $20 an hour, and some are up to $30 an hour. Interview, research, meet them, see what's important to them, see what they focus on. You should always have the continuity of care. If you have a company that comes in and they're switching your caregiver every single day because they took a case that they cannot staff with the continuity of care, you need to call out. Don't just say, oh, this is how the industry is. It's not. It's not supposed to be that way. So it's okay to try, and if you don't like, switch. Because the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to get someone new. Well, you're already getting someone new practically every day anyways. So there's a lot of us out there, and you need to choose one that best fits your needs. Anybody have any questions?
What happens when you need to have groceries and that sort of thing with someone who is dementia challenged, and then you have to figure out how to pay for it?
Okay, so that is a really good question. There's different
Can you repeat
options.
the question too?
Okay, so he's asking, what do you do when someone has dementia and they need groceries? And how do you figure out how to get them the groceries or how to pay for it? We've done different options. We've done click lists that are set up for the family as control of the account, and it's billed that way. We've had caregivers go through the computer, pick out what they want. We also can do a separate credit card or a debit card. Oh, I can't think what it's called. You do them for your kids too. And you put a certain amount of money on a card, like $100, and then they go for groceries with that. If you have the continuity of care and a good caregiver and a good company, reputable, that is licensed, bonded, and insured, and do background checks, which they should, you should be able to, the caregiver can take the client with them when they go shopping as well. There's different ways you can do it, but you can do it in a safe manner that you can monitor and make sure that, theft is not occurring. Click list though, it's the best.
There was a question over there.
Yes.
What are your typical sources of referrals? How do people
find out about what you're.
That's another good question. What is the typical source of referrals? Like I said, there are a lot of companies in town. Some run commercials, some do things like this. My typical referral source is strictly word of mouth. I opened up my own company 2.5 years ago because I wanted to do it right. I wanted to be involved in everything going on. So with like my company, I could get a phone call and they say, can you do this? If I don't have the continuity of staff, if I don't have a staff member that can definitely do it in a reasonable, amount of people, then I will say no. My sources come primarily word of mouth. Others, they advertise a lot. I'm at the point that I don't do a lot of advertising because word of mouth is my best referral right now. I do a darn good job.
I'm also thinking about physician referrals.
I do. I get physician referrals a lot. I do. Your physician can recommend. This is a private pay service. So your physician, your hospital, if you're going home, they're going to give you a list. And they're going to say, okay, here's Kiefer Senior Care. Here's this company. Here's Right at Home, Home Instead. Like I said, Visiting Angels. There's a lot. And they're going to say, you need to choose. That's when you need to reach out to places like this. Reach out to Catherine and say, okay, I got a list. I got a list for the rehab. I got a list for the skilled. I got a list for home health. Now I have a list for private duty. That's how they do it. And a lot of times your doctor's offices, they will refer you to whoever was last there with the marketing cookies and donuts. Just because that's on their mind. I mean, everyone's happy with donuts. So they're like, oh wait, this company just came in. I urge you to reach out because there's really great companies, and like anything else in life, there's some bad ones. And those ones that weren't good 5 years ago might be great now. You need to ask around.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, you.
I'd like to know cost.
Cost is, okay, so it's anywhere from $20 to $30 an hour. In our market, the average cost is $24 an hour. That is the average.
But I have more.
Okay, keep going.
Well, my mother was still a legislator, and I don't know whether this is obsolete now, I'm sure, but what she had, she lived to be 93 in her own home. And she had a person come in, and she told me she didn't pay for it because the government took care of it, because they wanted people to live in their own homes at that time. And it was great that they were making these campaigns. But she needed was to have someone come and vacuum the house. And I know that must be in care non-medical.
That would be considered non-medical, yes.
But she couldn't get into the bathtub.
Okay.
But that's about all. But she didn't pay for it. And I wondered, this was 1990, late 90s.
So the way, there's oftentimes individual grants or companies that have given, like Sedgwick County grants, Butler County grants, also Alzheimer's Association also receives grants that you could get so much money to pay for services like that. Independent Resource Center at times have a grant that can pay for it. It's kind of cyclical. It comes and it goes and it comes. So when the money's available, people need to get on it. Right now, we're not running any grants. Butler County does have one with the Alzheimer's Association. And I do believe they also do Sedgwick.
Yeah, I know Butler County has
I
something
know.
too. So it's very easy for us to check these resources out for people.
And if you reach out, somebody should know. And the good thing is if I don't know, I'm just going to ask somebody else. And we have a really good little phone tree, and texting happens a lot. So if you don't know something, we'll find you the answer. Yes.
But you're in RN, you come in. It's more than $24.
No, you get me for free. You lucky ducks. If you're paying the $24 an hour, I believe that an added service needs to come. I answer my phone 24/7. I come in, I come out. The good thing with in-home care, especially followed up by someone like me that is an RN, we prevent rehospitalizations. We find sicknesses faster. I contact the doctor, we treat UTIs quicker, we keep you in your home and actually reduce hospitalizations and other costs later by having people that know what they're doing and know what to look for. So, yes.
Do you need long-term care insurance?
Absolutely. Long-term care insurance also pays for me. With long-term care insurance, the biggest thing is as soon as you think you need the care, you need to call them and file a claim. Even if we're not going to be there for another week or so, then you reach out, you file the claim, and they back pay to the date of the file of the claim or when the company starts. But long-term care and private pay are our primary resources. Yes, in the back.
You said we interviewed companies to ask what their focus is. What is the focus of your company?
Really, my focus is client care comes first. I'll just make sure. I don't want to be the biggest. I don't want to have the most staff. I don't want to have the most clients because that's not my goal. My goal is a registered nurse. I see it differently. Maybe I'm a great nurse and a bad business owner, but client care comes first with me. So my focus is truly making sure that all their needs are met, contacting the doctors, making sure I have the right staff members in place, making sure I have the right type of caregiver in place. My company, I only have 2 caregivers. Everybody else are certified nurse aides. A lot of companies just run with caregivers only, meaning they're not CNAs, CMAs, home health aides. So my focus is really the medical background. And yes, we can vacuum. Yes, we can give showers, but boy, howdy, we recognize when the systems of the body are off. We'll notice quicker by using that. So really, I think that's my focus. Anyone else?
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Those people are my very favorite people because I've had CNAs tell me that when they needed help changing a bed or having some terrible thing in the middle of the night, that Susan goes over. So to have an RN kind of at beck and call when something's really needed, I think is a tremendous plus. And yes, there might sometimes be some grant money available. You could use a reverse mortgage to finance some of the services that you need. And if you've been saving money, or your parents or your sister saving money for old age, this is what she was saving it for. Okay. Yes. So use your money to get leverage to keep yourself healthier and happier and enjoy a better quality of life. It's very important because someone like Susan, Brian, Providence can make all the difference in the experience that your family has through illness or anything else, or that you personally have, so things go better for you. And it's not like you're paying $24 an hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It might be 4 hours, 3 times a day or something. So you work with these companies to figure out what makes sense. All right, we are going to take a little intermission, and I hope you don't leave, that you will come back because you're in for a treat with Fiona Harper, who's going to talk about what to do in your current home so you can stay in your current home. So let's take a 5-minute break. And for those of you that are in the room, we'll do a little stretch too before we get started. So we're just going to break for about 5 minutes. We'll bring all panel members back up at the end to answer questions also. And any questions you don't get answered, you can write them on your papers and we'll refer them to the right people. Yes. Yeah, I think you can. And hold the mic and your mic is here. Fiona is going to have a few activities for us, so we'll just go back into the program. So if you are able to make it back to your seats, we'll get going. Let's do a little stretching maybe that would like to while we're giving a couple minutes for people to get back. So you can stay seated or you can stand. All right, let's just take our arms up. Take your arms up. Breathe in through your nose and exhale. Let's do that again. A deep inhale and exhale. Do a little twist too. Very gentle, just a very gentle little twist. Let's take one elbow up and back. And the other elbow up and back. And gently stretch your arms out. Give a little shake. And then reach in, give yourself a hug. Stretch. If you want to, you can just gently bend and take it back up. Take one more big inhale. Ready? And release. Okay. I think most people are back. Some will join us, I'm sure, shortly. And I would like to introduce you to Fiona Harper. I work for one class. Tough crowd. So I am Fiona Harper. I have been a registered nurse helping those living with dementia. Again, helping those living with dementia for 28 years. Very proud. I have been very blessed. And I have a lot of background, but right now I co-founded a company that is called Changing Minds. And we educate both care partners and staff taking care of folks living with dementia. And I also recently, speaking on that, has anybody here heard of Tifa Snow? I know one of our participants has. She's a dementia care educator. Thank you. I am trained by Tifa. I'm an instructor and also a consultant. And did anybody watch the series Awakening from Alzheimer's that went around email? Or did anybody read the book, The End of Alzheimer's by Dr. Dale Bredesen? So that is a big program coming up, and I'm the third nurse in the nation to get certified as a practitioner in that program. So I encourage you, if you get the opportunity to read the book, The End of Alzheimer's, read it. After 28 years, I got excited about what's to come. So, and that's hard for me. So anyway, so that's me. And I wanted to talk about vision change as we get older because nobody talks about it. And it's so important. It's one of the things Tifa actually based her program on. And my parents were the greatest parents in the world. They were fire, my parents. But sometimes they would lie. And they were bad liars. And I'll give you an example of this. I had a cat, I'm pretty sure it died 50 years later, I don't know. But they said the cat went to live with Uncle Jeff in Oklahoma City. And I'm like, you guys are the worst liars I've ever seen in my life. And they would withhold information, right? So, you know, they would not tell me things, you know, sometimes when I just didn't really know. But the biggest thing they withheld from me was age 50. Now I'm 56 and they both passed before I reached age 50, but they didn't tell me at age 50 things start falling off. And they stop working and you start hurting. So I was talking to one of their friends, he's an old farmer named John, and we were talking the other day. And I said, you know, I hurt. And I kind of went on about all my ills. Now, John's like 78, okay? He's gotten me. And I said, I wonder if my parents felt like this at 50. And he looked at me and he said, they did. They were just tough. And then he started mumbling something about a snowflake, and I skedaddled out of it. So, but again, one of the things that I wanted to talk about was vision changes. And I want to talk about vision. I want to do a couple of activities. So I'm going to try to do it with the microphone a little bit. I'm going to show you how vision comes into your brain, okay? Now, we all slow down, do we not, as we get older, but we also get smarter, so that's a plus. But vision itself is very complicated, and that speaks to how your house is set up. Whether you decide to live in your house as it is, sometimes we have to do some different lighting, sometimes we have to do some different colors. But vision itself is very important, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, okay, I'm going to hold this for me. Catherine's so great. She hears me go on and on all the time about this stuff. So here's how vision works. Your eyes take it in, you turn it upside down, you line it up, and then it goes back here. Point back here for me, occipital lobe. This is where you process information, most of us. Now, for me, lately, it's come in, it's flipped around, it's straightened up, and between here and my occipital lobe, it goes to bronze, okay? So, and I'm going to talk about why it goes to bronze. Because as we get older, our peripheral vision, which is actually our safety vision, you would think our safety vision's out here, right? If I see someone with a gun out here, I'm gone. But it's actually to the side and all around. So I'm going to have you do a little activity. If you can't spread out your arms all the way like this, I want you to go like this because I don't want to hear from your orthopedic doctor. Yeah. Okay. All right. Take them straight up. Try not to hit your neighbor. And wiggle your fingers. Go ahead and wiggle them. Can y'all see them if you look straight ahead? I have no idea what mine are doing. I'm hoping they're not flipping somebody off or something like that. Okay. Now bring them in about 40 degrees and make a big circle. At 74 years old, that is normal vision, right? So I noticed last year, I'm walking out of my house and I don't see something like my rooster that's down here. And I go tumbling off the porch because my vision now doesn't see him down there, right? I also don't always see somebody turning beside me, the car, or whatever it is. And it takes me by surprise as it's coming into my straightforward vision. Why is that important? It's important when you set up your home, because when you're talking about ledges going into a shower that you might not be able to see well, it's very important. If you're talking about, I'm going to show you a slide. Steps, thank you. The porch, right? That kind of stuff. So peripheral vision is very important. It changes, it's supposed to. I don't know why, but it does. And so it's really important in how we take in our environment. We hear a lot that hearing is the last sense that you lose, correct? Have you heard that? We've heard that people even in a coma will say that they heard what people have said. But vision is the first and the last way that we take in all of this and bring it through our brain. That's how important it is. Who has heard 99% of communication is visual? Not what you say, but what you do, right? Now you looked at me, and one of my parents' lies that they told me was, you can do anything you want. Well, the National Women's Basketball Association disagrees, okay? So one of the things I wanted to consider here today is lighting, because it's so important in vision. Now, as we age, the pupils, those little tiny bitty muscles around the pupils start to get tightened up. And we lose 30% of the light that comes in compared to a 20-year-old, okay? I notice this because at night when I'm driving, I'm complaining that everybody has their brights on. And my kids are going, they're used to me by now, they're going, yeah, no, Mom, it's not. The halos are around and all of that stuff. I don't see well at night. It's because my light vision has changed, right? So I avoid driving at night now. Does anybody else do that? Absolutely, you're smart. It's because you're smart, right? Oops. Let's go back to that. Now, this is a facility, but if any of you ladies keep floors clean, this could be your floor. And you can see how the glare can kind of affect the peripheral vision, right? So the way that facility is set up here, the positive, right here, they have a different color. The baseboards are a little bit different color. And if you'll notice the handrails a little bit different color. That is because of that 30% change in your pupils. That's why they do that. And it's a very smart thing to do. It helps people to find their way and not worry about glare. Also, you'll note that the light is a little bit different, the lighting in there. And that's very important, and I'll tell you why. When I was selling my mom and dad's house, they had no track lighting, you know, they had a beautiful fireplace, they had this track lighting and everything, but the rest of that room was a little dark. And they had this coffee table in there. And I can't tell you how many times I ran into that coffee table. I think I need a new knee because of that darn coffee table. I wonder how many times they ran into it, you know? So it's really important to consider lighting wherever you live. So if you are going into another home and downsizing, pay attention to that lighting. If you are staying in your home and you are having a little bit of problem with your vision, have somebody come and look at the lighting and see if they can't help you out to see around a little bit better. The second one, and I have actually done this recently, is shadowing. So what I did not too long ago is I did exactly this. It was pretty bright outside, I was going to the house, and I actually grabbed the shadow instead of the door, and I ran right into the door, right? I'm a disaster waiting to happen, I'm telling you. But the other thing is, if you're trying to look at somebody and there are a lot of shadows on the wall, or even outside, it's really difficult to understand where everybody is at, right? So I want to talk about color change as well. This is something I didn't know about, and it's one of the reasons Catherine and I talked about me coming today, was color change. This is 60 plus vision compared to the actual color up here. Because as we age, our corneas get a little bit more tough. And we're actually looking through sort of yellow colored glasses. Now, the important part of that is that sometimes then you might have a difficulty seeing a chair that's sort of the same blue as the carpet. So then you pop down on the floor instead of on the chair because that color does not delineate from the other color. So this is what I love. This over here. You can see this is older vision, mine. You can see a little bit better of the delineation of the color. That's normal vision there. Then you can here, right? I looked at this slide and had a heck of a time figuring out which one was normal, which one wasn't, because I really only saw like the gray in both colors. This down here is normal. You can kind of see a little bit of difference in the color itself. I thought that was really interesting. And if you go to some assisted livings, their color scheme is there for a reason. And I'm going to give you an example of that real quick. So they have little places like this little settee back here, that really delineates itself from the rest of the environment. Because if you're going to sit down in a chair that's pretty close to the carpet color, put a really bright pillow there, simple fix, and you can plop right down instead of on the floor, right? Here's another example of that, I thought. These guys did the same thing. So they got a
little settee and see the baseboards? Pretty close, and you can see a little white carpet there. So this is pretty close. So what they did was put the blue pillow there so that you'll know where actually to sit. It'll help you out. So you might consider those things in your forever home, whether it's staying at home or you're looking at it in another home and looking at the environment, and you can kind of set it up the way you want. You might consider those things, right? And so the important thing about vision is always injury. You know, it's always falls, those kinds of things. Particularly, pay attention to the lighting in your bathroom. Make sure that you can see the ledge. A lot of ledges will be shadowed by current lighting that we generally use. And then it's difficult to kind of figure out where to put your foot sometimes. As a nurse, I've been in many, many poorly lit bathrooms, and I had a hard time myself. So just keep that in mind, because an injury always affects your independence. It always does, especially like a broken hip or something like that. So, and that's my spiel. Does anybody have questions? No? So the reverse mortgage guy gets more questions than I do? I can't believe it. Again, I'm Fiona Harper with Changing Minds, and I talk about brain change as we age, not just dementia, because it does change. You get smarter, but sometimes I can't remember which Rick you are. I have to think about it for a while. But keep in mind just to be kind to yourself as your brain changes. And pay attention, because there's a lot of really great things fixing to happen in dementia care and brain change as we age. So thank you very much. Oh, hey, we have a question.
A lot of times when I'm driving, I'll look down to, there's like 3 knobs there. One of them is the turn the fan and the heat.
Yeah.
And I won't be able to get, I mean, I see 2 of the same knob,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like, I'm not always hitting the knob. Sometimes I hit it. And
Have you considered like a neon sticker, glow in the dark sticker?
no, I haven't. That's a good idea.
Yeah, take it from me. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my mom loved cars that had dashboards like airplanes. That's how my mom bought a car. If it had more gadgets in the front, more lights, that's how my mom bought a car. And so what happened was I got her car, and you would turn on the car, it's like, woo, all this stuff lit up. I thought I was on takeoff. But yeah, that's glow in the dark stickers will really work for that. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Something I noticed, as a nurse in the nursing home days, it's that first step you take after you get out of bed that makes a difference. And sometimes you're in trouble, but you can't walk fast.
That's right. You have to walk. You have to like this.
No.
And then the guys have different problems because they get there and they're like, okay.
At first, you need to have a secure area to
Yes.
stand up and do
Mhm.
there. And if I was looking at a house and everything, I've not noticed the big, broad things.
Yeah.
I noticed how you could take a hold of this and go to the hall and walk down the hall to the bathroom.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, very important, the environment, especially like even when you first get up, a lot of people, I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but your blood pressure will drop
Yes.
and you get a little lightheaded. And so anything with sharp edges is really a real concern. Absolutely, yeah. Anybody else?
Any more questions?
All right, thank you so much.
More questions, and we're going to be wrapping it up pretty quick here. So thank you, Fiona. Yes, vision changes are really important. So if you look at other homes that are designed for 55 plus, these things are usually incorporated. If you're buying or renting something new, sometimes you can ask them to change things out too. So this is how we move through the process: thinking, planning, action, attending seminars, reading, talking to friends, considering options, planning, purging your household, which downsizing doodah, Ambrose team's downsizing doodah is great at. There's a few other people in town that may help with that. We can help people declutter and stay in their home, or help downsize somewhere else, pack and move. Just give you kind of a plan of action so purging makes sense. Connecting and reconnecting with vendors, visiting open houses and tours like the Parade of Bus Tour. Thank you, Justin, for providing the bus for us this month. And then eventually when you take action, if it's about the forever home, it might be hiring your healthcare professionals or your non-medical in-home care, might be hiring your agent, a move manager, senior move manager that helps you through the process, helping, and someone helping you sign a lease, buy, and also estate sales or however it is you dispose of things. This is what we can offer you. We've got the summer parade patio homes coming up. Downsizers Club, just put on any papers that you're interested in these. We can give you a free home equity checkup. We can help you with a professional move plan. We can help you with decluttering plan. We can arrange for you to meet with an estate sale consultant. We can do home safety evaluations, deferred maintenance consults to talk to you about what you can have done in your home that might help and what maybe you shouldn't spend money on, and how to make sure you don't overspend. Seniors overspend on the maintenance that they have done in the home because they call people that charge more, and we can give you options. We have a free moving truck if you are getting rid of things. We have a truck you can borrow, and we have lots of senior resources and contractor resources. So Downsizers Club is something else that we're doing. We have a Downsizers Club survey. If you're interested in Downsizing Club, that's going to be a monthly meeting. There'll be a small fee for this, but it will apply towards future things that you can have done. So we'll get information out by email on that. Downsizers Club will be a smaller, more intimate group. We would like to know, would you like to meet here, maybe the fireplace room at Botanica, the Candle Club, Rolling Hills, or different places in town, maybe a church-based group. The Downsizers Club is something that we're going to be offering to help take people through the steps and give you homework assignments. So, okay. So we've got our panel back up here, Fiona, Susan, and Justin. We have great people around the room, which you can come up to if people ask questions. So what questions do we have to wrap it up? Yes.
Question about the patio homes and the HOA fees.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly do the HOA fees cover? Do they cover repair of the actual home structure, or is that up to you?
So good question. So what do HOA fees, homeowner association fees, cover? So what we do with every individual property is we take a look to see what that particular property's HOA fees are and what it covers. Usually it's going to cover all outside maintenance, and it might cover everything to the wall, you know, through the inside walls. Randy, do you have anything to add to that? So keeping the yard water, doing the mowing, removing snow and ice, the trash. So those are pretty common things. So sometimes in some of these buildings, even your utilities or a large portion of your utilities are covered. Your heating and air is part of it. So they're all different, and it's very easy to find out and compare.
So pretty much repair of the actual structure would be up to you, so you had a broken pipe.
Sometimes. So like in that Riverview building, if you have a broken pipe, they come and fix it. Sometimes it's the homeowner's expense. I mean, they're just amazing. So what we do in these different places is we introduce you to people that live there, people that work on the management, so that you really get a good feel for what's covered and what's not covered. So sometimes in some of these properties, if you're purchasing, you take care of the maintenance inside the house, everything on the outside is taken care of. Inside the home, usually we're going to want to help you get a home warranty plan that you can keep up year after year that will provide a lot of coverage on those things. And then we have good resources for, like, who's our favorite plumber right now? Who's our favorite electrician? And that list changes. So if you have questions about any of that, no matter where you live, that's something that we can help you with. Did that answer your question?
Pretty much.
Okay. Do you think of anything else? Let me know. What other questions do we have about the forever home or anything you've heard today? Okay. So I want to thank our sponsors. We have Providence Home Health Care. We have Kansas Home Health and Hospice. And we have Legacy Legal. Doug Coe was so awesome last month speaking. And Felicia is an attorney at the firm. She's amazing. Bree with Healthcare Resort of Wichita. And this is your table JR mortgage? Okay. And, am I missing anyone? And Kansas Honor-Flight, that is such a great organization. My father-in-law and my husband got to go. You guys do amazing work. And I'm interested in finding out when you're gonna start flying. Are you flying yet?
So hopefully in July.
Okay, hopefully in July that'll get started up. So if you know veterans, you might want to talk to John Biggs about what that's all about. Okay, any last words? We'll do a last word for everyone. And someone has a question? Oh, table. Oh, I'm sorry. KMH, thank you for being here, ladies. All right, so Kansas Masonic Home, they're now KMH. It's not just for Masons. Beautiful building. And so visit with them and ask questions there. Please thank the sponsors because without them, we couldn't do this for free. And we really do appreciate that. Part of what we pay for here is for you to be able to enjoy the gardens, and so I hope you will. Let's get one last word and then we'll wrap it up.
Thank you, everybody, for letting me chat. If you guys do have any questions moving forward, I have a bunch of cards over there. My cell phone number is on that. Feel free to reach out. I do not charge anything for my services, for consultation or anything like that. If you just have any questions or you want to know about your particular scenario, please feel free to reach out and I can take a look at it.
And I also provide free consultations. Again, if I can't help you, I will make sure you find someone that is good and that can help you. I also do senior placement services, which is, and that is a service that is free to you. I get paid as a third-party marketer with a lot of the senior communities in town. I go to all of them, so I can help you find the perfect senior community as well. That's going to best fit your needs.
She is great, I can tell you that right now. So I want to let you know that Catherine and I are working on that 10-episode dementia series, and Tifa Snow will be here in August, which is amazing. This is a woman who goes to Australia and Canada regularly. And unfortunately, it's been a COVID year, but that's probably the only reason we got her here. She's going to spend 3 days graciously and spend that with us and help us make a really great series. So also Changing Minds will also go into your home. And if you need a consultation or you need family members educated or you want education, we will spend the time with you and sit down either in your home or if you want to meet somewhere else, we can do that and educate you about brain change. And it's very, very important and help you understand what's going on either with yourself or your loved one.
I apologize, I packed in a lot for today. I hope it was worth your time. We appreciate you being here, and we hope that we see you again and that you tell all of your friends. So, and please watch the show on Channel 8. It's Friday night at 8:30 p.m. This seminar, our group inspired the TV show. It's such a gift that we're able to reach people that maybe can't come to this. And we do very interesting topics. So Friday 8:30, we run Sunday at 3. And then it's on 8.2, wherever that is on your TV. I don't know, but it reruns Sunday like at 5. So thank you so much. And please reach out if there's anything we can do to help. Thank you. Thank you so much. And if anyone would like to have photos with anyone in your group, please flag them down. Or if you'd like to have photos with anyone here, please flag them down. Thank you. Have a great day and enjoy the gardens. Next month, we're doing decluttering and downsizing.